Hi, my name is Benita Miller and I have a company called Feltalicious and I make hand felted items, and today I'd like to show you how to just make a flat, simple piece of felt that you can use for making flowers or pictures. What you need to do this is you need a good solid work surface, you need a great big towel and also a tea towel if possible. You need a big thick blind, ideally a triple weave bamboo blind, but you can just use a normal blind that you would use in your kitchen that you can get from Argos for a fiver, not that I should mention any names. You then need to add on a piece of bubble wrap and make sure that the bubbles are facing up. And on top of the bubble wrap you use a piece of net curtain. Now I'm using two different blues. This is a merino wool and it's a combed wool top. I'm going to use two different blues, one on the top and one on the bottom, just so that I'm going to have a really nice effect, so that then when I build up my brooches I can have two different coloured brooches. And what you need to do, you just brush through the wool, pull off the top, and then you very, very carefully tease a thin amount of wool and lay it. And you're going to build up thin layers of wool. Once you've done one way, you can then take another colour if you want, or you can use the same colour. Again, you just pull the end off, and this way you're laying it on the opposite direction. And what happens when you're actually felting, you're adding the warm soapy water to the wool, and because it's facing in a different direction, the fibres on the wool open up with the warm soapy water, and the fibres start to fuse together with the friction that you're going to be causing with the warm soapy water and the bubble wrap. Okay, now we've done that piece, what we need to do is we need to wet this felt, this wool, and to do that we use, I use these little babies, Granny Soap Flakes. You can't read them. It's very natural, and so therefore when you're washing it out it's not going to live in the wool and stay in the wool. And you're basically just using 1 to 2 teaspoonfuls of wool in a very luxurious container about this size, and mix in some very hot water, give it a shake, and then fill it up so it's about hand warm, that sort of temperature. And once it's full, you then need some little holes in the top. You take the net curtain, cover it back over, and then very carefully sprinkle, not so that there's going to be puddles, but you need enough water to cover it up. And then you then take a bar of olive soap, pure olive soap, and you run the soap in the direction of the fibres. And then smooth your hands over the top. And just work it very, very carefully with your hands till you can feel all the air bubbles have gone. If there's any bits missing at the end, just add on a little bit more water. If you put too much water on, you can use a tea towel just to mop it up. What you can then do is just very carefully move it down, turn the bubble wrap back over, and at this point you add some more water and you start rubbing. Now the bubble wrap actually helps with the felting process, and it does it quite gently. So for starters you're just using this method and just lightly rubbing, and I would say you're best off doing this, and every couple of minutes you just pull it back, turn this over, relay the bubble wrap over, and do the other side. And do this for about 15 minutes, and after you've done this you can then take off this sheet, and that'll be the next step. Right, so I've been rubbing this for about 10 minutes now. What you need to do is just very, very carefully pull back this net curtain, because if you felt for too long, what will happen is the wool will start to felt on to the net, and you'll end up with something called Nuno felting, which is great for a scarf, but not for when you're just wanting to make a flat piece of material. So very carefully you pull back and just check that all the fibres are still in place, like that. Smooth it down, just add a touch more warm water. What you can sometimes find as well is that you'll end up with slightly different coloured threads. I just had a pink one there. You just need to make sure, if you can see any loose thread, you just pull them out before you start again. And then lay it back down, and you're good to go for another 10 minutes. Okay, so I've been rubbing for another 10 minutes, and now it's time to take it off the net curtain. And fingers crossed, if you've been rubbing for long enough, it should stay in one piece. You then remove the net curtain and lay this back onto the bubble wrap. See, one side dark blue, one side light blue, for the two different effects. Okay, that's taking shape really nicely, and again you put the bubble wrap back on and you're good to go for yet another 10 minutes. Okay, so I've been rubbing again for another 10 minutes, and it's really starting to warm up and starting to felt together. So now, dry your hands, move this forward, and it's time to start rolling it in the blind. You want to try and roll it as tightly as you can. There we go. And what you need to do is you need to roll 100 times in that direction. Once you finish rolling 100 times in that direction, you stop, and turn it 90 degrees, smooth it out, cover it up, roll again for another 100 times. You do that till all four sides are done, so that's going to be 400 rolls, and you then turn it over and start again. So you're aiming for 800 rolls in total with the bubble wrap on. Okay, now I've done that, you can simply remove the bubble wrap and go to the next stage. This is the commando roll stage, where it gets a bit stronger. And with this one, you're just rolling it straight into the bamboo blind, so it's not being supported by the bubble wrap at all. And guess how many times you roll? That's right, 100 times one way. Turn it, turn it, turn it, turn it, turn it over. You're looking at another 800 rolls. But this is why you need a good work surface. Ideally, if you can find a work surface that's at a good height, like your kitchen work surface height, and then it doesn't hurt your back as much. Because with the fact that you're doing 1600 rolls for one small piece of material. Now we've finished with the bamboo blind, it's time to complete the felting process. And to do this, you've obviously still got the soap inside. So you need to put it in the sink and put some boiling hot water over the top. And you'll see some of the soap draining away. Now this shocks the felt and it makes it felt further. It's a very important part of the felting process. You then leave it for about 5 minutes before shocking it with freezing cold water. For the purposes of this, I'll do that now. This shocks it further, and you also get rid of any existing soap that's in there. Once that's cool, you then scrunch it up and throw it, and this shocks the fibres further. And it's also very therapeutic. Squeeze out all the excess water, and then we'll go back to the bamboo blind. Okay, we're back at the bamboo blind. I've turned the bamboo blind over so I'm now on the dry side, so there's no soap residue left on the bamboo. And I'm just going to flatten it out, and the best way to do that is just to simply roll it back up in the bamboo blind and just to give it one last quick rub. And voila! One piece of hand felted wool. Dark blue on one side, light blue on the other side.